When she said, "Just disappear from my life," she didn't shout. She didn't cry. She just stared at me coldly, as if I was a stain on her perfectly curated world. I stood there, stunned, holding a bouquet of flowers I'd picked up after my third failed investor meeting. I'd been trying for months to get my tech startup off the ground. Nothing was working. Rejections piled up, my savings drained. And the worst part, every time I walked through that door, I saw her patience shrinking. "You're not going anywhere, and I can't waste my life waiting for you to grow up," she said. I asked her to give me a little more time. A few more months. But her voice was final. "You're holding me back. I want a life you clearly can't give me. I want someone established. You're still dreaming." Then came the words that would echo in my mind for years. Just disappear. No yelling. No slamming doors. Just her turning away and heading to the bedroom like I was a mistake she regretted making. So I did what she asked. I left that night. No fight. No goodbye text. I packed 2 bags, left the keys on the table, and walked into the unknown. The first year was the hardest. I slept on couches. I worked odd jobs. But I kept building my idea, refining it, pitching it, failing, then pitching again. People thought I was insane. She probably did too. But little by little, the world that had rejected me started to open up. One investor said yes, then another. The app took off. I built a team. I got an office. I stopped looking back. I never blocked her. I didn't need to. I just became invisible. Until 6 years later, when fate handed me an invitation I couldn't resist. One that would take me back into her world. Not as the broken man she tossed aside, but as the guest of the man who now decided her future. And when she saw me that night, she didn't say a word. She just dropped her wine. The ballroom shimmered with golden light, crystal glasses clinking, laughter echoing across chandeliers. Waiters moved between tables with the kind of precision that only came from high society events. And there I was, 6 years after she told me to just disappear, walking through the grand doors, not as a guest of honor, not as a date, but as a name that carried weight. Beside me stood David Langston, billionaire tech mogul, CEO of the company whose name sat atop half the city skyline. He had read about my startup 3 years ago, invited me to consult, and within months, brought me in as a partner. What began as survival had bloomed into success, and now, the guy she once dismissed as going nowhere, was the right hand of the man who owned the building she worked in. David patted my back as we entered. "Tonight's a formality. I need to shake hands." You smile and nod. "Then we disappear. You hate crowds, remember?" I nodded, grateful for the plan. Until I saw her. 6 years. She hadn't changed much. Same confident posture, designer dress, elegant glass of Merlot in hand. But the moment our eyes met, something shattered. Not physically, just the illusion she'd built around herself. Her fingers trembled. The glass slipped, crashed to the floor, and the room gasped. Wine stained her ivory dress like a spreading truth. She stared at me like she'd seen a ghost. But I wasn't a ghost. I was the man she'd discarded, now standing taller than she remembered, beside the one person in that room she couldn't afford to offend. I gave her a polite nod and turned back to David. "Old friend?" he asked casually. "Not exactly," I said. She didn't approach me right away. She watched from the other side of the room, her eyes flicking between me and David as we greeted donors, executives, politicians. I caught her whispering to a colleague. Her hands kept fidgeting. The woman who once told me I was a weight on her future was now watching me shape the futures of people far above her pay grade. After dinner, I slipped out onto the balcony to get some air. That's when I heard the soft clack of heels behind me. "Daniel," she said. I turned. She looked nervous, vulnerable, but not in a way that moved me. In a way that confirmed she knew the world had turned without her permission. "I wasn't expecting to see you here," she began. "I imagine not," I replied. Wow, you look different, successful." "I am." She laughed lightly. "Guess you didn't need me to get there." I stayed silent. After a pause, she tried again. "So, what's your relationship with David? Are you consulting for him?" I met her gaze. "I co-own 3 of his subsidiaries now. I lead product development and investor relations." Her face froze. I could almost hear her brain recalculating. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That's incredible. I mean, really, I always knew you had potential." "No, you didn't," I said calmly. The smile vanished. "Excuse me, you didn't see potential. You saw failure. You told me to disappear." So I did. You don't get to rewrite that now. She stepped back slightly, defensive. I was under pressure. You weren't working. You were always broke. You expected me to just wait around while you built your dream. I nodded, and I never held that against you. You wanted stability. I respect that. What I don't respect is how you ended it, like I was beneath you. She bit her lip. I was wrong. I see that now. That's good, I said simply. Growth is good. She hesitated, then asked, do you ever think about what we had? Sometimes, I admitted, but not because I miss it. I think about how much I gave you, and how little you thought it was worth. Her eyes welled slightly. I was stupid. No, I said, you were honest. You saw me at my lowest and decided I wasn't enough. That's not stupidity. That's clarity. Painful, but clear. She was quiet. I looked at her dress, stained from the wine. It's funny, I said. You always cared so much about appearances. Tonight, the one thing you couldn't control was what everyone saw. She looked down at the stain, flushed, then back at me. Did you come here just to hurt me? I shook my head. I didn't even know you'd be here. But I'm not sorry that you saw what I became. At that moment, David walked onto the balcony. Ready to leave, Dan. Our car's downstairs. I nodded. Yeah. David looked at her. Have we met? She scrambled to compose herself. Yes, I work under Lisa Chen in marketing strategy. Right, he said, shaking her hand briefly. Hope you're enjoying the evening. She murmured something, but we were already walking away. Before we reached the door, I turned back and said, you told me to disappear. And I did, but the thing about disappearing, sometimes we come back louder than ever. Then I left, not in anger, not with revenge, just peace. After that night, I didn't think much more about her. I had no anger left. That part had burned out long ago, replaced by something quieter, acceptance, maybe. Peace, certainly, but the universe wasn't finished with its little ironies. A few weeks later, David and I were reviewing our upcoming launch strategy in his office when his assistant poked her head in. Mr. Langston, HR would like your approval for internal restructuring. They're promoting someone from strategy to head of brand comms. David nodded. Send the file. I didn't expect to recognize the name when he opened the folder. But there it was. Hannah Grant. She'd been promoted. Or, at least, she was about to be. David looked at the resume, then turned to me. You worked with her, right? I nodded slowly. She any good. She's smart, I replied truthfully. Efficient. Ambitious. He tilted his head, but, I hesitated, then said, she's also someone who puts image before integrity. She's not a team player. She'll say what needs to be said in the room, but she'll throw people under the bus outside it. David exhaled, closed the folder. Noted. He never said another word about it. 3 days later, Hannah's promotion was quietly withdrawn. No explanation given. The role was left open for another candidate. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel power. I felt balance. She wasn't punished. She wasn't fired. She just didn't rise higher on the back of someone else again. And that was enough. Weeks passed. I continued building, traveling, advising. Then, one chilly Friday evening, I walked into a quiet jazz lounge for a meeting with a young investor. He was late. I sat alone at the bar. That's when I saw her. Hannah, alone. No crowd. No heels this time, flats, messy bun, tired eyes. She looked over and froze. But unlike the last time, she didn't panic. She picked up her drink, walked over, and sat one stool away. Guess you heard about the promotion, she said without looking at me. I nodded. It came across my desk. She exhaled. I figured. I knew it was over the second I saw you walk in with him. I didn't ask for that moment, I replied. I didn't plan revenge. I know, she whispered. There was a long silence. I wasn't kind to you, she said finally. I thought I was being smart, protecting myself, aligning with someone who could offer me more. You thought I was disposable, I corrected. She flinched. I did. Another pause. I was wrong. About you. About what matters. I know, I said. Her voice cracked. I lost the best man I ever had, and I deserve that. I nodded. You do. We sat in silence. Then I stood. I forgive you, Hannah, I said gently. But forgiveness doesn't mean we go back. It means I don't carry your mistake with me anymore. She didn't cry. She just looked tired, hollow, but maybe, changed. I paid my bill and walked out into the cold night. Months passed. My life kept growing, deeper friendships, a real relationship built on honesty, not ego. I found joy in the small things again, morning coffee, music, mentorship. One day, I opened my inbox to find an email with no subject line. It was from her, Hannah Grant, just 2 lines. Greater than, thank you. For letting me fall without pushing me. You taught me more in silence than anyone ever did in love. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Because I had already said everything I needed to say. By walking away with my head high. By returning not to hurt her, but to heal myself. By proving that sometimes, the best revenge, is becoming someone they no longer have access to.